And Rachel is literally the star of a Disney movie, and she acts like she's some sort of victim. And that's the sort of mentality that is just poisoning people's minds.
I never want it to come off as me being ungrateful for the opportunities I have. I can also be having the greatest time and simultaneously wishing people would stop sending me death threats.
Okay, so here's the thing. Rachel Zegler might have signed on to be Disney's next princess, but somehow she ended up becoming the internet's favorite punching bag. From airport sightings to rumors of a $200 million lawsuit, it's starting to look less like a fairy tale and more like a full-blown PR nightmare. But what actually happened? Did Rachel really ruin Snow White? Or is she just an easy target for a movie that was doomed from the start? And seriously, what's with the talk that she's on the run? We've got all the messy details, the behind-the-scenes whispers, and the drama that's got fans and studios pointing fingers. So grab a snack, because we're diving into the chaotic downfall of Disney's most controversial remake, and why Rachel Zegler's name is smack in the middle of it all. Rachel Zegler's rise to fame should have been the kind of story that Hollywood dreams are made of. A young, ambitious actress of Colombian and Polish descent, plucked from obscurity after a viral video of her singing went viral, catapulted straight into the limelight with a lead role in Steven Spielberg's West Side Story. That's not just rare, it's practically unheard of. For a while, it seemed like she was Hollywood's next big thing. Critics praised her, fans adored her, and opportunities flooded in. But somewhere along the way, that fairy tale momentum started to unravel. Suddenly, praise turned into nitpicking, then full-blown scrutiny. She became the face of something much bigger, a cultural clash over what modern storytelling should look like. Online critics began dissecting her every word, especially when she opened up about making Snow White feminist and independent. What once came across as confident and progressive started being labeled arrogant or tone-deaf. It's been said that her candid interviews rubbed both conservative audiences and die-hard Disney loyalists the wrong way. Fans who once cheered her on were now creating compilation videos mocking her red carpet statements. It's as if one wrong step became a snowball, one that turned Rachel into a lightning rod for a debate that's much bigger than just a movie. Few films have walked into a storm quite like Disney's Snow White remake. What was intended to be a modern reimagining of the 1937 classic spiraled into one of the most hotly debated entertainment stories of the past year. Critics weren't just upset about the creative choices, they were outraged. Everything from the decision to cast a Latina actress in the title role to the removal of the 7 dwarves became fuel for controversy. But the real fire started when promotional interviews showed Rachel Zegler speaking unapologetically about the film's bold changes. She didn't just talk about modernization, she flat out called the original creepy and said the prince was essentially a stalker. Those comments were like a match in a gasoline factory. Disney traditionalists felt attacked. Culture warriors on the right declared the film an agenda-filled failure, and online outrage went into overdrive. It didn't help that clips of Zegler went viral, with people calling her smug, entitled, or out of touch. Memes surfaced, reaction videos exploded. There's speculation that internal Disney execs were blindsided by the backlash, and even tried to distance themselves from their own lead actress. While no one from the studio officially confirmed this, the downgraded premiere and awkward silence on social media made people question whether Rachel had been subtly iced out. The debate over artistic freedom versus respect for legacy became a cultural landmine, and Rachel found herself in the dead center of it. What started as a standard press tour turned into a crash course in how fast public perception can flip. Rachel Zegler's interviews promoting Snow White weren't just dissected, they were weaponized. Every soundbite, every facial expression, and every comment about feminism, independence, or not needing a prince got magnified. Her confidence, which once felt refreshing, was suddenly labeled arrogance. The most circulated clip? Her saying, "We absolutely wrote a Snow White who's not going to be saved by the prince." That line alone sparked thousands of reactions, from angry Disney purists to frustrated moviegoers. The backlash wasn't just from conservative circles either, it spilled over into general audiences who felt she was trashing a childhood classic. Rumors suggest Disney's PR team scrambled behind the scenes, trying to course correct. Insiders claimed there were emergency meetings to assess how to repair the film's image. Then came the social media corrections. Rachel tweeting about how honored she was to play Snow White, walking back her tone. But by that point, the damage had been done. Online sleuths were already comparing her to other actors they believed were more grateful or classy, and the TikTok mocking videos didn't stop. What should have been a crowning moment for Rachel turned into a non-stop PR nightmare, and her silence in the weeks leading up to the premiere only made it worse. One of the wildest twists in the Snow White saga came when a shocking rumor hit social media like a thunderclap. Disney allegedly was demanding $200 million from Rachel Zegler in damages for the film's box office failure. Let's be clear, there's zero public confirmation from Disney that this is real.
A lot has been said about the fact that Rachel Zegler is a leftist fruitcake, and she is, but she's also just a spoiled, entitled, narcissistic brat who was perfectly willing, because she's not stupid. Well, she might be stupid.
But that didn't stop the internet from running with it. Twitter, or X, exploded with speculation, memes, and outrage. Some said it was just internet satire. Others claimed it came from inside leaks, and a few even swore legal papers were being drafted. The rumor, wild as it sounds, struck a nerve. Fans couldn't believe Disney would scapegoat a single actress, especially one who didn't write, direct, or market the film. But critics argued that her comments and behavior may have damaged the brand beyond repair. It's been said that corporate heads were furious about how she handled the press tour, and that even if there's no lawsuit, Rachel's career with Disney might be unofficially over. That kind of industry blacklisting isn't something you see in headlines, but insiders whisper about it. Whether the $200 million rumor is real or just internet fiction, the fact that it went viral tells us how far the narrative around Rachel has spiraled out of control. It also shows how public opinion can turn financial myths into emotional realities. When Rachel Zegler was spotted rushing through an airport, keeping her head down and avoiding reporters, it only added fuel to the firestorm. The clip, which quickly circulated online, showed a visibly distressed Rachel refusing to answer any questions, her expression unreadable. She looked like someone on a mission, either to escape the chaos or to regroup in silence. That one moment triggered a wave of speculation. Was she flying out to escape legal trouble? Was she heading somewhere to lay low while the media storm passed? Some fans joked she was going off the grid, while others genuinely worried she was cracking under the pressure. There's been no official word on where she was going, or why she looked so shaken, but context matters. This sighting came just days after the Snow White box office numbers dropped, and the $200 million rumor began to swirl. The timing made everything feel a little too suspicious. Some even speculated she was heading to Colombia to reconnect with family, or perhaps start a new chapter away from Hollywood. While nothing's been confirmed, one thing is clear. Rachel's quiet disappearance from the public eye wasn't random. Whether it's burnout, PR strategy, or something deeper, her sudden vanishing act only deepened the mystery. What started as internet criticism quickly morphed into something much darker. The wave of fan backlash Rachel Zegler faced didn't stop at memes or lighthearted jokes. It spiraled into full-blown hostility. Entire Reddit threads were dedicated to mocking her interviews. TikTok creators stitched her clips with sarcastic commentary, and reaction YouTubers dubbed her the poster child for Hollywood ego. But the most unsettling part? The speed and aggression with which fans turned on her. Just months earlier, people were hailing her as the next big thing. Now she was trending for all the wrong reasons, often alongside keywords like cringe, entitled, and ungrateful. It wasn't just about the movies anymore. Fans began digging through her old tweets, looking for any reason to cancel her further. Some even unearthed high school posts and tried to twist them into proof of a pattern of behavior. It's been said that behind the scenes, Rachel's team went into full damage control, contacting platforms and trying to stop the spread of misinformation. But the digital wildfire had already spread. The digital age makes it nearly impossible to control the narrative once it gets out of hand. And in Rachel's case, the internet became both her launchpad and her battleground. This wasn't constructive criticism, it was a takedown. And for someone so young in the industry, the emotional toll of that kind of public rejection is something fans often forget exists behind the screen. Throughout the whole media circus, one thing stood out as especially strange: Disney's radio silence. When Snow White started catching heat, many expected the House of Mouse to swoop in with a carefully worded statement defending the project or their star. But instead, nothing. No clarification, no pushback, no public support for Rachel. That absence of response didn't just speak volumes, it screamed. Some believe it was a calculated move, letting the controversy burn itself out without adding fuel to the fire. But others think something more sinister was at play. Rumors have circulated that Disney higher-ups were furious behind the scenes and that Rachel may have been unofficially blacklisted from future projects.
The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
Insider blogs have whispered that several upcoming Disney Plus plans she was attached to were quietly scrapped after her media comments. Some even claim she's being used as a cautionary tale internally, a warning to other actors about what not to say during press tours. And while no studio would ever confirm such a thing, the pattern is hard to ignore. The awkward silence, the lack of promotional support, and the sudden drop in Rachel's social visibility all suggest a studio slowly distancing itself from someone they once put on a pedestal. Whether Disney is being strategic, passive-aggressive, or downright ruthless, one thing is clear: they've left Rachel to face the wolves alone. With everything going on, fans and critics alike have started asking a deeper question. How is Rachel Zegler really holding up? The stress of being at the center of a nationwide backlash, the pressure of fronting a $100 million plus Disney project, and the constant flood of online hate would break almost anyone. While Rachel hasn't made any public statements about her mental health, those close to her have hinted at the toll it's taken. Friends reportedly said she's barely sleeping and has pulled away from people since the Snow White storm began. Even her Instagram feed, once full of bubbly behind-the-scenes posts, has gone eerily quiet. Fans noticed a shift in her tone. When she does post, her captions feel more guarded, less joyful. That airport video, where she looked like she was holding back tears, only added to the concern. Some mental health advocates online even called out the way people were treating her, warning that the digital mob effect can push public figures into dangerous territory. While there's no confirmation that Rachel is dealing with severe emotional fallout, it's hard not to connect the dots. When a young actress gets thrown into the middle of a culture war, without public support from her employer or protection from the media, the impact isn't just professional, it's deeply personal. There's a chilling phrase that often floats around Hollywood during PR nightmares: career on ice. And while nothing official has been said, there's growing speculation that Rachel Zegler may be facing that very fate. Industry insiders have pointed out that her name has gone suspiciously absent from future casting rumors, and previously announced roles seem to have lost momentum. Even the Hunger Games prequel she starred in, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which should have been a massive franchise springboard, was barely mentioned in follow-up announcements. Reports suggest several agencies have grown hesitant to work with her due to brand risk. There are whispers that casting directors are being told she brings too much online heat. In the entertainment world, this kind of quiet distancing is more deadly than any tabloid headline. No press release, no formal firing, just fewer calls, fewer meetings, and eventually, silence. If these rumors are true, it raises major questions about how the industry treats young women of color who speak their mind, especially when their statements disrupt the carefully curated narratives that studios try to sell. Whether she's being punished for honesty or sacrificed to protect corporate optics, Rachel's sudden career freeze is as eerie as it is revealing. The big question everyone's asking now is, Can Rachel Zegler come back from this? Hollywood loves a comeback, but it also loves to forget. Right now, Rachel's caught in limbo. Too controversial to headline another Disney project, but too talented to be fully erased. Some fans are rooting for her to reinvent herself with indie films or stage performances, places where authenticity is valued over PR polish. Others think she'll disappear for a while and re-emerge with a rebranded image, perhaps softer, more market-friendly. A few even believe she'll use this entire scandal as fuel for a tell-all memoir or documentary, exposing what it's really like behind Disney's curtain. There's also talk that she might shift to activism or commentary, using her platform to call out the double standards she's faced. Whatever path she takes, one thing is certain: Rachel's story isn't over. If anything, she's become a symbol, willingly or not, of what happens when Hollywood's new generation clashes with the old guard. The redemption arc is there, waiting. But whether she takes it or fades into the background like so many before her depends on what comes next, and whether the world is ready to listen with an open mind instead of a judgmental scroll.